Episode 41.
But he's in every Hollywood movie, and he's a great guy, And I was talking to him, and he was saying that he doesn't want to come back. He won an award, and he said, I don't want to come back in 15, 20 years, still talking about diversity.
Welcome to another episode of The Little Radio Show. My name is Sandra Fernandez, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Juan Alanis and Angelica Casares, and we're bringing you small talk about big topics. This week's, in case you missed it, includes a look at Pew Internet's numbers on the growth of the Hispanic community and a rather dynamic conversation about Beyonce's Lemonade. We also have 3 really great interviews with wonderful, different personalities. The first is with Ana Flores, who is the founder of We All Grow Summit and Latina Bloggers Connect. The next is with the actor Alex Reese, who many of our audiences might know from Quién es Quién. And the last is with Cindy Garza Roberts, who's the Public Affairs Director for HEB and the President of Latina Women's Initiative. Just a reminder that you can catch us every week on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on hmsnetradio.org. Our show archives and the link to our iTunes and Stitcher channels are available at thelittleradioshow.com. And in this week's In Case You Missed It, we actually have 2 very separate topics, but we're going to start with the one that I'm bringing, and that is Pew Internet Research, which is one of the most cited research outfits out there, came out with some numbers to show us what Hispanic audiences look like. And more to the point, everybody always talks about how one of the things that a Hispanic community has going for it is the fact that we tend to index younger than the other segments in the U.S. They have some really interesting statistics that show us what that actually looks like. So, according to Pew Internet, 58% of Hispanics are millennials or younger, and they're identifying millennials at capping out at 33 years of age. So 58%, that's nearly 60, that's about, and I'm rounding up, that's about 2/3, okay, a little less, but it's about 2/3 of all Hispanics are 33 years old or younger.
I have a problem with this statistic. At this point, wasn't that 2 years ago that they were capping it at 33 years old? Don't you think they've already aged at this point?
Well, but millennials, okay, yeah. But millennials are, okay, millennials are millennials. All right, so, the discussion about what a millennial looks like, we'll have to add that for another day. We have had it, but anyway, what really, really struck me wasn't the 58%, which I sort of, took as a given. Oh, well, yeah, that sort of makes sense. It's the fact that what puts us over on the numbers aren't the millennials, which are a large group. It's the 18 and younger group. So according to these numbers, what we're looking at, in millennials by themselves, 26% of Hispanics are millennials, which is 18 to 33. And in blacks, it's 25%. And in Asians, it's 25%. And in whites, it's 20%. The numbers aren't that dramatically different. I mean, yes, in the white population, it's lower, and it's a 6% differential between Hispanics and whites on how much of it are millennials, which is still, thousands upon thousands of people. But it's not that, oh my God, dramatically different.
I think the influence, but even at such a small percentage, the influence can change. It does take its toll on.
But I know,
which we can
but that's
see
not
happening.
That's not the one that really, really struck me.
Okay,
it's the 18 and younger group. In Hispanics, the percentage of Hispanics that are 18 and younger is 32%. That is 1/3 of all Hispanics are 18 and younger. All right?
That's huge.
That is incredibly huge.
That is very big.
In the black community, in the black population, as given by statistics by this research facility, 26% of the black community is 18 and younger. Wow. It's about 6% differential. All right? In Asians, it's 20%.
Oh, that jumps
But that says a lot about the future of the country.
Yeah, hold on. Let's keep going. In Asians, it's 20%. That's a 12% differential. In white, it's 19%.
Whoa.
Yes.
So what do you think about all those stats?
What I'm saying is, first of all, we have later in the episode an interview with Anna Flores, and one of the things that she talks about is the reality that the population growth, the Hispanic population growth in the U.S. is not due to immigration; it's due to birth.
Right.
And here you have it: 32% of Hispanics are 18 and younger.
But what's exciting about that is that, I think we've come so far to a certain degree, but imagine where we're going to be. Like, imagine where we're going to be 20 years from now, 50 years from now. Like, where is this country going to be, and where are Latinos going to be in this country? So going to the other topic that we're going to talk about, who's influencing these people, these young people?
Oh, good Lord!
Who's the influence of them?
And that is Juan's way of introducing the next topic, which is all Beyonce all the time, or at least right now.
The Beehive.
The Beehive. So, as you all know, I am not part of the Beehive. Well, you might not know that. So, as you know, it's just recently that Beyonce dropped the album Lemonade, and it's a visual album. I don't know.
What does that mean?
Visual album means is literally, it's not just audio, it's visual, so you have to see it.
So it's like a film.
They were calling it a short film.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an hour long that debuted on her, the app Tidal, and then also on HBO.
Which the app is owned by Jay-Z.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to see it, you can go download and Tidal. Yes. I'm sure everybody can find that.
Right.
But moving on with the album. I wanted... How much of it? I know I watched it. I wonder if you guys here, Sandra and Juan, have watched it. Okay.
I've only heard what's been said on social.
From what you've heard, what do you think about it? I want to get your perspective on what the hearsay of it.
You mean based upon second and third party conversations,
probably, yes,
and the media coverage of it, and etc. Okay, I have heard almost nothing about the music itself.
Okay.
I have heard lots and lots about the scandal.
Oh, isn't that the favorite though? That always something happens
attached to it, and the oh my god, I can't believe he did that, and oh my god, I can't believe she named her, and her fans going and doing a virtual posse on Rachel Ray by mistake.
Rachel Roy.
No.
Rachel Ray.
They did a mistaken posse on Rachel Ray,
no,
and a
but
few of them actually had to go and apologize to her because they descended upon all of her social networks. So if you don't know because of one letter mistake.
Yeah. So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's Rachel Roy that she pulled. I don't know what she would think she was doing. Actually, she put an actual picture out after the album dropped, and she said Becky with the good hair. Oh no, she didn't actually say that. She said good hair don't care. And so of course we all know the Beehive went after her, but in mistaken identity.
Let's take a step back.
In mistaken.
Why does that matter that this person put it out? Because to me, what you just said makes no never
sense.
mind.
Well, we can actually discuss this all day long
No,
as to why it was a mistake
Beyonce,
that she did.
No. Beyonce said something in her album.
One of the songs, and one part of the lyric was "Go with Becky."
Becky with the good hair.
Becky with the good hair. But okay, so
and Becky with the good hair is a reference to Jay-Z's lover. Or
well, that's what everybody's thinking. She never actually said Becky with the good hair is Jay-Z's lover. Who I believe Becky is Beyonce before Beyonce came out with the album, before she actually found herself. I really honestly believe Becky with the good hair was Beyonce before the album dropped. Her fans interpreted Becky with the good hair was the girl that Jay-Z was cheating with. Well, what happened in this incident was it was mistaken identity. So Rachel Roy is a designer. Rachel Ray is actually a Food Network person. And the funniest thing happened though. Rachel Ray posted a picture of a burger, a slider. And the Beehive went and attacked the Instagram post and started putting bees and lemonade all over the feed of the comments. And somebody was like, guys, I don't think this is it. And a lot of them went back and apologized. Oh, I'm so sorry. But at some point, we all need to take responsibility for ourselves. Should we be attacking the person who we think is not, who might not be the lover or isn't? Let's just say Rachel Roy is the girl that he was.
And that's, hypothetical.
That's very hypothetical. Let's say it is her. Should her Beehive have attacked her? No.
But I think that's
definitely not. But at
the
some
only thing
point,
that really stuck to me out of this whole thing, and I've only been watching it very loosely, but one thing that Rachel Roy said, and it was like, well, this is supposed to be like an album about empowerment and you know, unifying the community, and all it's doing is really getting people to attack me and attack other people. That they're just going on an excursion trying to find whoever this person is to attack her. And
I very much agree with that. I very much agree with that. But do you think she would have said anything had they not attacked her? Had she not posted that? Do you think she would have been like, this, it's not, or of course it's not her responsibility. So the album itself, it as a visual album, I thought it was outstanding.
But my favorite part of the whole story is that, you know, we had Selena from Texas, now we have Beyonce from Texas, and they're both making history.
I'm sorry. Yes, Texas kind of just produces all those great people. Everybody who's in the news media, if you don't know, they came from Texas. Beyonce came from Texas. Selena came from Texas. Maybe that's the outcome of all of it. But to wrap it up, that's in case you missed it.
If you're just tuning in, this is the Little Radio Show on hmsnetradio.org.
So I had the opportunity to talk to Ana Flores, who is the founder of the National We All Grow Summit, which takes place every year now in the Los Angeles area. And she's also the founder of Latina Bloggers Connect. And we had sort of a candid conversation about, you know, where the industry is, because she really has been kind of pioneering in the digital space in terms of creating a space for Latinas, and especially Latinas, to who are digital influencers, to really connect and to grow together. No pun intended.
So we know that right now the acceleration also in the growth of the Latino population is not through immigration. It is via via newborn children from Latino families in the U.S. So those are, you know, coming from Latina and Latino moms, especially Latinas, and we are looking for information, resources, and products for our children. And it kind of started with that, seeing that there was a huge lack in that side of the industry, and a huge request, you know, that I was getting more anecdotally from my end. And then once I launched, as you know, I launched a blog called Spanglish Baby in 2009, seeing that it was more than anecdotally through the offline relationships that I had, but also seeing that how quickly that community grew validated that need. And then in 2010, the census, came out, the large census, and really that kind of, you know, put the growth and the accelerated growth of Latinos and our purchasing power really in the front line, you know, with census data. And advertisers really started slowly but surely shifting their advertising dollars towards Hispanic marketing. And for me, really, again, going back to your question, it was more of a need of what I saw within myself and my circle, and trusting that meant that there was something bigger there as well, that Latinas needed to be reached in culture and in ways that matter to us and that we understand.
Do you think that since you started, and you know, Spanglish Baby, and then when you started Latina Bloggers Connect, do you feel like that things have progressed, you know, to where we would like to be at this point, or are we kind of still working on it?
A little bit of both. Maybe depends on the day. No, sometimes it feels like, you know, yes, we have it covered, and, you know, more and more opportunities are coming, and the pay is the same, and et cetera, because you know, that's always a huge issue, right? How much, and I know you working also in advertising and marketing companies and PR, that, you know, that the budgets aren't the same.
And while the budgets aren't the same, Anna does believe that we are making progress. And, you know, one of the things that she said that really stayed with me was that, you know, we need to have more success, or children need to see more successful women who are fulfilled in their families. And I think that applies across the board. But I think it's when you see those individuals, you're able to interpret, you know, that there are more possibilities for you as well.
We go back to the world of media, right? And that, and toys, and the way that, and books, you know, the way that children start absorbing the stories about who they are and their role in society. So that definitely, you know, starts with there. But I also think that what the Latina content creators via YouTube, via blogs, via Instagram, whatever it may be, them and us sharing our stories is really what's going to help, you know, start eliminating those barriers and those misconceptions about who we are. Because here we are sharing our stories. Nobody needs to try to tell the stories. We are here to tell them, and you know, and media companies and toy manufacturers and et cetera can look at us to try to find that authenticity. And for children, you know, I think another thing that's happening with Latinas online that are being empowered I created this out of nothing, right? I had a job, but, I left it after I had my daughter, the recession, etc. But stories like mine and many other women that are able to just maybe provide a supplemental income to their household, maybe they were stay-at-home moms, or maybe it's somebody that was able to quit their job and, live off YouTube and et cetera. But really, this is hard work, right? We know this is hard, as hard as it gets. It's hard work. It's fun and tons of perks, but there's a lot of work behind that. So being able to do that in a society that unfortunately is still a little bit machista, and it's still, there's certain roles for women and for men, and especially in different spectrums of the society of our culture, it's important for children to be able to look up and see successful women that are fulfilled in their families. Right? Look at their mom, look at their tia, look at somebody, and see them doing something that they love and that empowers them. And I think that starts to break down the stereotypes within our own society as well.
And these days, Ana and the Latina Bloggers Connect group are now planning the We All Grow Summit, which she describes as a sisterhood.
So it's always in Southern California. We did it in LA last year. It was 250 people. We grew to 400 people this year in Long Beach. And Neutrogena came on board as our title sponsors from day one, and they're still with us. So that to us is super important. And I think what has happened with We All Grow is that it's gone beyond social media or blogger conference. It's become this sisterhood that just happened on its own. It's not something that you go out and create. We're going to create a sisterhood. It's something that happens, right? And through the space of us being together and being in a place where we all get each other, because it's hard for our parents and other friends to understand what we do. Yeah. So when we're together, kind of like that magic happens. And that's what it's been.
I want to continue the conversation, and the conversation that we had, or this next upcoming conversation that we have, was Mexican-American actor Alex Ruiz, who's worked on both in the Hollywood industry as well as in the telenovela industry. He's currently starring in the telenovela ¿Quién es quién? And he's also going to be soon on a game for South Park, and he also does lots of the voices in South Park. So we have a engaging conversation with him about his career so far and the role of Latinos in Hollywood today.
So I started in the Hollywood world, doing commercials, doing plays, doing bit parts, in like Gossip Girl or shows like that, little small parts like that.
Gossip Girls, wow.
Yeah, and then I did a bunch of commercials for everything, but a lot of stuff was in Spanish. Most of the stuff was in Spanish, so I got to kind of connect again with, my roots, I guess, since I have it in Michigan. And then I started, getting all these jobs, and then the telenovela, that's where it was really big. You really have to be, involved in this whole Latin community. So when I came here, it's not like I went backwards, because a lot of people that are in Florida or doing telenovelas want to move to LA, obviously to movies and bigger things. And I have, the luck, I guess, to be living in Los Angeles, and when they need me for a project or I audition for a project and they want me, I just move to Miami for a few months and then back, because I always want to be in Los Angeles.
Now, are there differences in terms of the opportunities that you have access to in the Latin entertainment industry as opposed to the general mainstream media?
Yeah, there are. I like I said, I think 90% of the stuff that I've done is in Spanish. Even though I speak perfect English, I don't have the stereotypical Mexican look, which sadly Hollywood still looks for.
And it's crazy that we're
the maids.
No, it's crazy that's a thing, right? I mean, the stereotypical Mexican look.
You don't have enough of an accent.
Yeah,
you're not dark enough. We need you to look more Latino.
We need you to be taller, darker, and handsome.
Yeah, I have friends who are blonde, green-eyed, and they're full Mexican. They're more Mexican than I am, and they can't get jobs. Like, they walk in because it's like, here's your Mexican guy, and they're, they have their stories that they walk in and they're like, you're not Mexican, I mean, what is that? Mm-hmm. What is that? It's all these diversity issues, that are plaguing Hollywood.
Yeah, and I would imagine that for you as an actor, that's a little bit frustrating, especially when you're going into a role and you're qualified and you just don't get the part because you just don't have that look. And even if you are Mexican, you don't have the Mexican look, quote unquote, whatever that is.
Right. Right. I mean, like I said, I feel very lucky and I have a lot of advantages because I can. I mean, I'm okay. It's not like I go in there and I bitch about, oh man, I don't want to Mexican guy. I mean, I learned to kind of accept the fact that it's happening, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to voice an opinion about it. I'm just going to do my job because it's my job, and it's a character. At the same time, it's a character, and I'm okay with that because I separate it. I have this thing where no matter who I play, it's a character. It's not me. Whatever people think, that's their thing, but that's just a character. But, on the outside, I mean, I want to be, if I have a small voice that, 2-3 people will listen to, I'm going to talk about how it's very important, to just stop this whole, segregated, Hollywood or acting world or whatever it is. And it happens a lot with, it's not just that, it happens a lot with even the Latin world. I noticed that working in a lot of projects that, all these Latin people are divided as well. Like Venezuelans with Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans with Puerto Ricans, Mexicans with Mexicans. I feel it sometimes here and there, and it's like, no, man, let's all kind of group together. This is a group thing, Let's stand up a little bit more,
And is that what's kind of motivated you to start working with the National Hispanic Media Coalition and, working about... I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No. I was just going to say, working on the Latino inclusion issue in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I just kind of started. I went to a couple events and stuff and talked to some people, and I'm trying to be more involved with it. I mean, I'm not directly, with them, but I want to learn. Before I actually... move on something. I want to learn. I want to listen, and that's what all these things have been happening that I see around in people's stories that they tell me and things that are happening. I went to this award show with. I said in another interview a few days back where Luis Guzman was there, and Luis Guzman is American. I mean, he was born here. He doesn't really speak that good Spanish, but he's in every Hollywood movie, and he's a great guy. And I was talking to him, and he was saying that he doesn't want to come back. He won an award, and he said, I don't want to come back in 15, 20 years, still talking about diversity.
It's 2016. Can we move on?
Yeah. And,
exactly.
Yeah. And Alex, one of the things is that a lot of people would say that there are a lot more opportunities now than there were before because there's so many Latino artists that are out there. This year there were a couple of shows. One with Eva Longoria, one with America Ferrera, one with and obviously Gina Rodriguez. So there, kind of the argument is like, well, there is a little bit of more diversity, but when you look at it in the Oscars when they were talking about diversity, nobody ever said anything about Latinos. So. You still kind of feel like we're not there yet where we want to be.
Yeah, completely. Especially when, a Mexican director has won back-to-back Oscars for Best Director. I mean, that is gigantic. That is such a huge thing. And I didn't really hear anything from that. I mean, you hear just the quick things about it, but it's like, this is history here. This is huge. This is huge. But yeah, I mean, I'm not, it's not like, I'm bashing Hollywood or anything because I've been living there 12 years. I love it. I mean, the jobs that I do are Hollywood jobs, and they're great. I'm extremely thankful. But, you can't, I mean, you'd be blind if you don't see any of these things happen, especially when you live there. You hear people talk, and people say what's going on, and you can't, be deaf to that either,
And this week, to round up the wonderful array of interviews that we have for you, our very own Juana Lanis sat down with Cindy Garza-Roberts, who is the Public Affairs Director for HEB, to talk a little bit about the group in Houston, Latin Women's Initiative. In this first segment, in this first part of the conversation, she talks a little bit about why it's so important to work to give back to the community, and about how her roots have helped her see the importance of it.
Giving back was always instilled in us as children by my parents and also my grandparents. My grandfather came from Mexico. And like so many other individuals that come from different countries, not just Mexico, but from all over the world, many individuals come to the United States because of opportunity, or they seek a better opportunity than they have in their own homeland. And that's why my grandfather came along with his his brothers, they came to the United States from Monterrey, Mexico, to do exactly that. And he succeeded quite well. And so my parents as well have always instilled in us how important it is, two things: not to forget where you came from, and to always give back to those that are still there. And so as a result of that, it's always been very important for me to stay actively involved in the community, and not just the Latino community, but the community at large, because there are individuals that you know are in need, I should say, at different times of their lives. And so that was just instilled in me. So don't forget where you came from, and always remember that there are others still there, and it's important for you to be a role model and to also give back to help enhance the quality of their lives, and then hopefully help them strive to improve the quality of their lives.
In some of the conversation with Cindy, she talks about a lot of the gains that the Latino community has managed to make in the United States, but also about some of the challenges that are still facing us, including in education and especially in corporations and in businesses, about the number of Latinos as CEOs, on boards, and other things. Here's the segment.
So are there still struggles? Absolutely. Are there areas that we as Latinos and Latinas in general still have to overcome? Absolutely. In our communities, in our schools, and in corporations. If you look at corporations and look at the big major corporations, not just here in Houston, but throughout the United States, and you look at the board of directors of those major corporations, let's see how many Latinos you can find that serve on the board of directors. There are very few. So there's a challenge, not just for the Latino male, but also the woman. There are less women sitting on corporate boards, and even fewer Latinas sitting, and probably, just as few Latinos, males, sitting on corporate boards. Education. Look at what makes up majority of our public schools, the population of majority of our public schools just here in Houston. Within HISD, majority of the student population is Latino. How many Latino teachers do we have? Who sits at the helm of HISD? So there's another challenge. And in our own communities, I think it's important for individuals to get involved in their communities, whether it's something as simple as a homeowners association or just becoming the voice of your immediate community, because the only way change is going to happen is if we speak up.
And to wrap up the conversation, Cindy talks about the importance of reputation and education as things that you can own and you have some control over.
My dad always told us there's 3 things in life that you are going to own and that no one is going to be able to take away from you, no matter what happens. Only you are the one that will be able to determine in which direction these 3 valuable items will take. The first one is your name, and he always said, your name is the most valuable thing you will ever own, and only you can tarnish it. No one else can. So you value your name. The other is your word. If you give your word to someone, that is the second most valuable thing you will have, because you have to stand by that word. If you do, si no cumples con tu palabra, you ruined your name, and no one is going to believe you anymore. They're not going to take you serious. So your word is very important. And then the third thing is your education. And if you get an education, no one can take that away from you, ever. So those are the things that I try and live by, and I pass that consejo, if you will, along to others. because I think it's very true. I mean, think about it. Your name, your word, your education.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Little Radio Show. We invite you to check out our iTunes and our Stitcher channels and leave us a rating or a review. You can find the link to both channels at thelittleradioshow.com.